Welcome back to the Compressor Guru. Folks, this is episode number 2 of the Guru trying to answer questions that you have given to him, either through comments on videos or an email or a phone call. However you contacted him, he's here to try to spread some light in these areas where you have questions. And now, with a fresh haircut, here is the Compressor Guru.
Thank you, camera wife. We just finished up our season of service specials where we have a set price for servicing a 5 and 10 horsepower recip compressors in customer shops. We go in, we change the oil, we change the air filter, and do a bunch of little things. We look for problems. And we have a couple customers that said, what all do you do? And this actually happened a few years ago. What all do you do in respect of, when you come in? Well, so we developed a checklist for the customers that want them, and we actually have a more extensive checklist for one particular customer that wants more detail. So let me paint you a picture. For one set price, and special's over. Don't call me and say, can you come run to Florida for me? Well, maybe I would. But for one set price, we line up all these service works, these preventative maintenance jobs in a town like Clearfield, Phillipsburg State College, local to us. And then we take and we load up enough oil and filters and spare parts like pressure switches and stuff. And we go out and we, most efficiently as we can, go from one customer to the next. When we walk in, and I say we because this year it was John, my part-timer, and me, we'd get out of the truck, he'd grab a couple toolboxes, I'd grab some oil and a grease gun, and away we'd go. And we'd walk in, I would grease the motor, I would change the air filter. In the meantime, he's checking how tight the belt is. He would take and start dropping the oil out of the compressor after we shut it down. And I would be taking a couple things back out of the truck already. I would go get a hose and a blowgun off the customer. And when he come back, we'd just keep working at it, and I'm going to give you the list of what we do. And in no particular order. And I will put this list on in the description of the things we do. We change the oil. We change the air filter. And that doesn't mean we blow the air filter out. We actually change it. We grease the motor if the motor has grease fittings. We check the belt wear and the adjustment, and we tighten the belt if necessary. It's part of the price. We don't replace the belt without charging the customer for it. Some of the belts are pretty expensive, but we check the belt tension, make sure there's no cracks in it, make sure it's not war smooth. So we check the belts. We drain the tank, maybe not all the way, but we make sure we open the pitcock or the drain valve till all the water is out of the bottom. And it's surprising how many people don't do that on a regular basis, and they should. We we take that hose I talked about earlier, and we walk around the machine. We blow off the intercooler. We blow off the aftercooler if it has one. We blow the motor out. We take the cover off the magnetic starter and the pressure switch when we blow the dust out of those. Then we put the hose away, and by this time John's put the plug back in and he's refilling the compressor with oil. And we look for leaks. We look for air leaks. We look for oil leaks. And by now John's got the machine full, and he takes a rag and he starts wiping the large areas of the compressor off. We make it look nice and clean, because there's two things I've told you guys over and over and over. Heat and dirt are the enemy of your machine. So Now we turn the machine back on. It's got oil in it. We've blown it off. We've checked the belts. We've done all that stuff. We turn the machine back on. Now it's pumping back up because it's down on air some. So I take my infrared temperature gun, the radar gun, so to speak, the gauge, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I take the gun and I check the temperatures of the intake side of the head and the discharge side of the head, and the same on the high pressure side if they're separate heads. And I make sure that there's a difference in those temperatures. Your intake temperatures are usually anywhere above the ambient temperature of the room to 140, 150. Your discharge temperatures will be anywhere from 200 to 325. If those temperatures are like that, it means the valves are working properly and there is compression happening. We have time, and we don't always have time, not because of our time, but customers don't want to be down long. And we may drain the tank all the way to zero, isolate the tank, and check the pump up time. On a 5 horsepower on an 80-gallon tank, the typical pump up time is less than 8 minutes, from 0 to 175. We will check that time and we will record that time basically on the compressor with a magic marker. Now we don't do that every year, but if it's got a time marked on it, we confirm that the time is correct compared to the last one. And then the last thing we do before we put the covers back on the magnetic starter is we take an amp gauge, and while that machine is up towards maximum pressure, we check and see what the amp draw is on each leg, whether it's a single or three-phase machine. We check the amperage on each leg. And what my electrical guru told me was that if there's a big difference and you don't have a voltage difference, say all three legs are, 120, if there's a big amperage difference, it could mean that you have a motor on the way out because the insulation's burning off one of the fields inside the motor. So we actually check the amperage draw on each leg of a motor, especially on the three-phase, to make sure that the motor is good and shouldn't be expecting to give them any problems for the next year till we come in again. Now guys, I don't know how long this episode took. I just blew through it talking, but me and John got down to the point where we could do this in 20 to 25 minutes per machine. And it works well when we have a bunch of machines in one town. I think the most we did was 17 on one day, and we had no travel time between machines. It was just literally across the street to another customer, down the street to the next customer, and we worked like a well-oiled machine that day. It was a long day, but by sharing the travel time and making this a flat rate, customers love it. They like knowing, oh, I missed one thing. I forgot to tell you, we checked the safety valves. When it's pumping up, we check the intercooler safety valve and make sure it's free and seats. We check the tank safety valve and make sure it's free and reseats. And there's sometimes a third safety valve on these. And you can only pull it when it's running and up near full pressure, and that's the safety valve between the check valve and the pump. And they're usually very hot and very hard to pull. But we check all those and make sure they are free to move and reseat without leaking. All that being said, it doesn't take two guys working together, knowing what to do next, not having to say, well, we need to do this, we need to do that. Knowing what we have to do, working together, we can service a machine in 20 to 25 minutes. Now, we have another customer that wants more details. So we've adjusted our sheet We've adjusted our sheet so that he has two three-phase machines, and we are taking the readings off of each leg of the motor on both motors and recording the amperage. And then we are also recording the temperatures of the run temperatures after they've run for a few minutes, so that we know that they have a record of this machine was running cooler or hotter, or the amperage was the same last year as this year. This is what we do on our service special, and we do this for 5 and 10 horsepower recips. Guys, several of you have asked about this, especially the customers that say, what are you coming in to do? And we explain to them. I don't go through it in this much detail, but I tell them we do a 12 or 13 point safety check, we change the oil, change filters, blah, blah, blah. And the customers love it. And when I'm walking out the door, I hand them the invoice. I tell them no invoice is going to be sent, pay from this. Do you want me to come back next year? They say absolutely. It's one less thing they have to do. And I want to talk to you about one less thing they have to do. We have a couple maintenance men we're going to interview here. Both of these guys are high-end maintenance men. They both take care of fairly large plants, and we're going to talk to them about their work ethic, how they keep track of old machines and everything they have. And that is coming up in the near future. I don't know if it'll be the next episode or not, but it is coming up in the near future. So we will be interviewing some of the higher end maintenance men. Guys, if you like what we do here, leave a comment, say we like it. If you don't like it, tell us, hey, you talk too much, bud.
You do talk too much, but
Okay.
that's all right.
Yeah, I know. Leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Believe it or not, we do make money here, but we started this channel to help guys like you, and that's what this is all about. Thank you. God bless. Have a great day. Camera wife, I talked so much and so fast, I don't think you got a word in edgewise today, did you?
I really didn't talk today, and I apologize for that.
Well, I don't mind.
But I was actually thinking, wouldn't it be nice if we did one of these episodes where you actually showed them all of these ways?
Well, we did film one, and we did put it up, but it didn't show it very well.
It's good to have the checklist.
Yeah. It was a couple years ago, and we were at Bob Ingram's, R.D. Ingram Cabinetry, and we serviced that shop on the very hottest day of the year.
I remember that day.
And by the time we were done, we were just drenched, and I can't say we had a lot of fun there. Bob's one of the best friends I got in the world, and we service his machine every year for him. But yeah, we did that, but it wasn't our best episode because we were just trying to get done to get in the air conditioning. Hey, thanks. God bless. Have a great day. Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.